Welcome to I Kinda Wanna DIY. Today I'm going to show you how to build this portable, storable, folding workbench. So first thing I did was just create a little mock-up in Google SketchUp just to see how things were going to fit together and how to make the most out of the wood from this free desk. This desk we picked up off Kijiji, and I'm going to try and make the whole bench only using materials from this desk. That way this project is absolutely free. So after I got all the hardware removed from the desk, I took another quick look at my design, and I just wanted to make sure I had all my measurements right before I started running it through the table saw. So now I'm just going to rip down some 3-inch strips that are going to become the legs, and I'm doing this on a table saw that I also purchased off Kijiji. I've just made a few modifications to it to make it work a little better, built my own fence, and made some table extensions for it to help support larger work pieces. After I've finished ripping the legs, I just needed to rip some pieces for supports and also some pieces for the corner braces. Now I'm trying to use this homemade inverted jigsaw that was given to me. It's actually a pressure washer that's been converted into a jigsaw. Now this is 1-inch thick material, and I found that the oscillation was just a little bit too slow to cut smoothly through the material, so I ended up switching to my jigsaw for the rest of this cut. As you can see, with the jigsaw at full speed, I was able to make short work of those legs, and then I just clamped them together to make sure they were all even and equal. I gave them a quick sanding with 80 grit sandpaper. So again, I had to bring out the miter saw to just chop down a few small pieces to act as corner braces that are going to hold the legs in place and give me a spot to run the bolts through. So before bolting the legs into the supports, I had to make sure I had a perfectly placed hole. And again, I'm using kind of a makeshift tool here. I've got a drill that doesn't quite fit into this drill press, but I was able to line it up and drill one good hole that I could then transfer through to all my other pieces. So I decided to secure everything down with pocket holes. Of course, you could just use normal screws and countersink some holes through the 1-inch thick material and just screw them down to the table that way. But since I had the jig on hand, I thought I'll just keep it easy and use the pocket holes. Again, I'm using the pocket hole drill bit with a stop just to countersink some holes so I can attach these two pieces together to form a corner bracket. So once all my pieces were ready, it was time to glue and screw them down to the table. I just made a makeshift clamp to help me do this while I got the screws down and let the glue set. So now this was an important hole to drill, so I wanted to double check to make sure I had it in the right place before making it the full size for the bolt. And I just did that using the drill bit. And then I checked again with the bolt in place to make sure the legs are moving the way I expect them to. Everything looks good so far, so I moved on to the next leg and repeated the process. And sure enough, it looked exactly the same as the first one, so everything's looking good. Next, I just need to cut some pieces down to size for the actual legs again. Now these are the pieces that are going to lock against the corner brace to hold everything at 90 degrees. So here you can see we're just securing those on, again with some pocket holes and clamps and glue. everything looks like it fit together nicely, and so I thought I'd give the table a little test run here, and I'm actually pretty lucky that it didn't fall underneath me without having any cross support on it. But I decided, since the table's pretty hard to move around right now, before I add any more supports, I'm going to create a little handle in the middle. I just did this with the jigsaw, and I just cut a hole big enough for my hand, and I made sure it would also fit some clamps for an extra utility of clamping purposes later. Now finally I decided to cut another strip to create some support for the bottom. This is going to help lock the legs from folding in when the table's set up. So I just cut and measured a piece that would fit right in between, and then secured a larger piece over top of that, which is going to act as a brace for the whole leg system. And to secure it all in place, I added a couple of small pieces of wood on either end and screwed those down with some glue to keep the legs also from bowing outwards. Next, I just quickly rounded over the handle I cut in the top on both sides so it's nice and comfortable to grip. And here you can see I'm trying out that clamping option while I just trim up the ends of my support piece. Quickly I added a place on the wall to mount it, and here you can see how easy it is to pull off, unlock, fold out, and lock back into place. Much more stable than it was before, and it's just as easy to put away. Thanks a lot for watching. I kinda wanna die.